I'm Cristiano Façanha, Global Director with the Drive to Zero program at CALSTART. And today I would like to introduce you to my colleagues in Sweden, Magnus Berntsson and Gustav Zettergren with the Västra Götaland region, and Per Osterström with the business region Gothenburg. They all represent the western region of Sweden, including 49 municipalities, including the city of Gothenburg, which has the largest port in Scandinavia, and are thus responsible for a large share of free traffic in Sweden. And Västra Götaland region is a Drive to Zero pledge partner and considers transportation electrification to be a key priority. And Europe is one of the leading regions in the zero emission commercial vehicle space because of its commitments to climate action and issues of air pollution. And some countries, such as Sweden, are even moving faster. So Magnus, Gustav, and Per, thank you for being here with us today to discuss the progress towards zero-emission commercial vehicles. So as you all know, Sweden is recognized as a leading region in this space. So what do you consider to be the most effective policies and actions put forward by the government to advance zero-emission commercial vehicles?
Thank you for inviting us. And if I should start, I'm the regional minister for environment in region Västra Götaland. And what we have been doing in our region, if I start there, that I think has been the most important step was that a few years ago, we decided politically that we want to be, will be fossil-free region to 2030. It's an ambitious goal, but of course this is nothing that just can be taken in a political assembly for it to be a reality. So we have also been working very closely with all the other important actors of society. Of course, with academia, with all the municipalities, with the civil society, but not at least also with the business side, with the business community. And we are automotive industry region, so we have all the players in our region in that sector, more or less. So this has been very important that we have been working together, understanding each other, trusting each other in doing the right steps. So from my side, I think that has been number one in for us to be able to do the transition to a green economy, but also a zero emission free region when it comes to the transport sector, since transport is a major part of the emissions in not only our region, but all over the world.
Yeah, I agree what Magnus said, that I mean, one part can't do this transition alone, and to be able to go forward, we need a base of trust between business and public sector, but also academia. And that is, I think, a strength that we have here in Sweden in general, and in West Sweden in particular. I would say three other things that is important, and that is that we have a CO2 tax in Sweden. We have had it since I think 1991. And when we went into EU, we arranged it to a real CO2 tax, and that is giving the businesses a long-term base, you could say, for reducing their CO2. Right now we have a regulation of renewables mixed into the fossil fuel. So right now we have it at a 2.6% level of renewables into the fossil fuel, and by 2030 it will increase up to 27%. So that will help. Then I also think that a third thing then is that the public sector is taking responsibility to build infrastructure for electric charging and also pump station for biogas, for example. That is not 100% sometimes in rare areas, but with some percent in subsidies for that. So that is also very helpful.
Oh, thank you, Cristiano. Yeah, well, going fossil free or for that sake going electrified requires more of a systematic change in society. There is a lot of different stakeholders that need to work together to actually find new solutions to put new type of transport solutions into action, and also to create the business models around that. And I think the Swedish National Innovation Funding System has been a help and support to, in the first phase, create and help to fund the test beds where we can put in our different questions and perspectives as different actors and find solutions together in collaboration on the questions that needs to be solved to really scale up the system. So that is one very important thing that that we have had as help and support from the national system. And also, I think when it comes to charging infrastructure and for that sake biogas infrastructure or other type of infrastructure for the new fossil-free transport solutions, the funding support to build out that type of infrastructure in a smart, efficient way is also something that historically and up till now has been a help from the national system, and that has been a very important thing also.
Yeah, I really pleased to see Sweden's commitment like to sustainability for such a long time, even from the beginning of the 90s. And I even remember that when I did study in Sweden in the mid-90s, that was actually the commitment to sustainability that made me invest in being an environmental engineer. So it's really important to see leading regions, really charging ahead. And so obviously we're all concerned and interested in how COVID is changing the commercial vehicle space. And so how do you think COVID will impact Sweden's ability to deploy zero-emission commercial vehicles?
Shall I start, or yeah?
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the large OEMs like Volvo and Scania here have, of course, difficulties on their finance due to COVID, but there is also a very strong support that the new economy after COVID, if you say so, shall promote a green restart. I know that one of the CEOs said recently in media, if government subsidies a return to the old world, he thinks that it would be a waste of money. So electrification will now go faster than before, he said. So that is something that I think is the way many of our OEMs see it right now.
If I continue, I would say that of course they are struggling right now because of the economic situation, also from the COVID pandemic, and of course, if we go back just 3 years ago, perhaps no one thought that electrification would go so quickly also on the mid-size and the heavy vehicle side, as it actually are on its way to do. And I think that the companies in our region and in Sweden has been early adopters here is, of course, a advantage now, because they want to be strong companies also after in the post-COVID economy, and of course we are very happy, and I think they're made the right choices, that they sort of continue on with the research in this sector, so they will stand ready when the economy is starting to roll again, and when people are buying their heavy vehicles further on in the future. I think this, they see it not only that this is sort of course important for the whole world and the upcoming generations, but it's also very important for them as companies to, if they are to survive, of course they need to be able to sell what the market wants to buy, and for sure the COVID crisis shows us that we are more dependent on how we treat the world and how we treat the everything around us. So we need to be doing the transition and go to green and more sustainable and social sustainable and also green sustainable society in the future. That's really important for the companies as well.
I agree to that, and I mean, what we can see right now is that the COVID situation has created a very problematic situation on a global scale. But there has never been such many opportunities either. I mean, if you really would like to invest and take action, there is plenty of opportunities in the market at the moment as well. We can see right now one of the biggest issues for the OEMs is the broken supply chains. Which is everywhere on a global scale throughout the whole Europe. And that will hold back a little bit the kickstarting, but at the same time there is a lot of preparational work done both on national and European level to actually kickstart the economy. And if you're ready to take off, it can go pretty fast to come back into normal pace. I think that looking forward to actually help and mitigate this situation, I think public procurement will be one important thing where we can actually do a change and use public procurement more in our work to actually support green fossil-free transport solutions. Really putting the beam on what you want to grow. To leave behind what is not important for the future. And that is typically also what we see on the business side, that we believe that this is actually accelerating towards more of a green economy now. This is the time to take this opportunity, and there is a lot of prioritization made to leave the old parts behind and focusing on what you really need to put focus on to have a business in the future.
Yes, this is all music to my ears to hear this level of optimism. That even though, I mean, we do have broken supply chains and a lot of challenges in the manufacturing industry, there is actually an opportunity for complete renewal, and then really a shifting of priorities here. And then if there's one thing that COVID has done was to accelerate an already existing trend towards more e-commerce and online deliveries, and the opportunity to electrify urban deliveries. So, which is pretty exciting. And so, one of the on another topic in terms of international collaboration. So, I'm curious to hear which areas would you most benefit from international collaboration and initiatives such as Drive to Zero?
If I start, I'm also president of the largest regional network, regional organization of Europe called the Assembly of European Regions, and therefore I'm rather often in discussions with the commissioners and other players on the European level and the European Parliament, and of course for us it's very important to also be able to show them and to show them how the what's going on, which are the forerunners in different fields right now, so that they can look at what's going on in this society where we are situated. And if we talk about the electrification, for example, of course, it's important that the European level now, when they are presenting a recovery plan, and the European Commission is presenting a recovery plan and a multi-annual framework for the budget in the upcoming 7 years. Of course, it's so important that they are made as incentive for doing this transition. So this is really important, and and we need to work in different fields here. Of course, directly to lobbying on the European level, but we also need to provide people with the right knowledge of what's going on, because after this kind of crisis, it's easy for people to think, oh, if we just go back to what it was before, then everything was fine. But that would be the total wrong way, because then the companies wouldn't be able to sell their services or the products. They need to do this transition, and we need to help to give the right information and knowledge to the ones that are making the decisions in this field. But of course, we don't know everything, so we also need to work, of course, and partner up with with the ones that we could learn more. Not everyone should invent the wheel all by themselves. I think we have so much to win on cooperating with each other, and this is something that my region has decided that we are doing that, and cooperating with partners in Europe, but also otherwise in the world, where we see that this can be beneficial for both sides, and we are very happy to find good partners everywhere, not at least in California.
Yeah, I mean, we often face the same challenge. So I think the need of a system demonstrator in one part of the world will sort of speed up the shift also in another part. And especially, I think, regions that has a strong business in like large OEMs in vehicle development, etc., has a benefit of a win-win both for the business and for the environment. Yeah, a lot of the same sort of challenges you could see, and the need of system demonstrators, I would say, is needed.
And if I should continue, I mean, by 2030, the city of Gothenburg performed and purchased domestic transport will be fossil-free. That's one of our goals. And at the same time, already by 2023, we would like to have a fossil-free vehicle fleet. We have prepared and done a lot of homework to be in the forefront of this transition, and secured electricity supply, and looked into our housing stock, our public parking places, how we build out depots for commercial vehicles, how we work with electric work sites, etc. But we need also to learn together with others, and international collaboration is a key thing in that. Particularly. Also, if we look on the business side, this is a huge transition from a competence perspective. So we are now working together both on the regional level, also on the national level, and also internationally to face this competence transition, and by learning from each other how to deal with it going forward, and creating these new green jobs in Europe together. Another thing that to be able to get going with this is common standards. And it's not enough just to have one approach in Sweden, because our business partners and business stakeholders, they work on an international and European international market, and needs to have common standards to actually be able to both sell and to have a profit in what they are selling. Similar when it comes to building out of infrastructure to facilitate fossil-free transportation. That needs to be built out on not just the local market, but needs to be built out on at least European level when it comes to the European transportation, and possibly also on a global scale, so that we can scale globally with our green solutions. So those are typical areas where we need to work internationally, working together to progress, basically.
This is all great, and I think it just plays to the importance of what Drive to Zero is meant to do, which is really to foster much stronger international collaboration in this space, because we are indeed talking about a global industry, and one of the most important barriers is actually to create sufficient volume in the industry so we can bring costs down and improve performance really a lot faster, and then know what kind of policies work and most effectively, and especially the combination of different policies. So, so Magnus, Gustav, and Peter, I'd like to thank you all for being here today with us and talk about your plans and progress towards zero-emission commercial vehicles. Thank you.
Thank you.